All right. Man, I've been waiting to review this movie for so long. I can't believe I haven't reviewed the first one yet. But today we're going to do the remake of Carrie. This is going to be so... What the hell's going on? Review canceled! Review canceled! Carrie stars Chloe Grace Moretz, Portia Doubleday, Ansel Elgort, and is directed by Kimberly Pierce. What's up, guys? One of the most requested reviews I get is for the original Carrie from 1976. Now, recently when I was in the middle of my move, I watched the remake of Carrie, and I've seen it before, but I planned on reviewing that one. So quick shout out, on my last review for Suspiria, I kind of got a gang request. One of the usernames, Best of the Best, he requested that I do Carrie. And then as soon as he typed that out, then two more people jumped in. One of them was Stephen King and Wes Craven fan. And so I figured, hey, I'll go ahead and review the remake, and then I'm gonna do the original, but I wanna give it a fresh watch. But I've actually reviewed the Rage Carrie 2 in the past, which was a lot of fun. That was a VHS review. And as soon as I did that, I thought, I can't wait to actually get on to these Carrie reviews. Plus, I recently got that Funko Pop up there, which looks awesome. If you're a horror fan, you have to have a Carrie Funko Pop. But let's get into the remake starring Chloe Grace Moretz. I think this is one of the better remakes out there, actually. And I'm gonna get into some reasons why. And yeah, looking forward to this. But what's interesting is that opening scene where we see the birth of Carrie. That scene is really important because Julianne Moore, who plays the mother, who does a phenomenal job, by the way, right away she considers killing her child. And this kind of sets up how crazy Julianne Moore is, and she is really just off her rocker, even more than the original movie. But we fast forward to when Carrie is a teenager, and we see that shower scene much like the original, but it's a lot tamer, I guess, than the original, because the original Carrie, that shower scene was almost like softcore porn. But this is when Carrie starts having her time of the month, I guess, and this is when it first starts, and she doesn't know what the hell is going on. You know, she's really sheltered. She's not like a normal teenager. She doesn't get out at all. Her mother has constantly sheltered her whole life, so all these life changes that she has, they're all new to her. And so the rest of this movie is kind of a fish out of water. This is a person that's stuck in a high school environment with normal teens. And of course, they're gonna jump on that person and pick on them. This happens in high school, you know, every day. But also, a big part of this movie is Carrie discovering her powers. And that's another thing that this one, I think, focuses on a little bit more than the original, is Carrie finding her powers, honing them in, and kind of mastering them. Now, before I get into the pros, I will say, when you're remaking a classic, you know, Brian De Palma is one of the greatest directors of that generation. And his adaptation of Stephen King's novel Carrie is, I think, one of the better horror movies out there. It's a horror classic. And when you attempt to remake horror classics like Rob Zombie's Halloween, you're asking for trouble because you don't want to veer too far off, but you definitely don't want to copy. And I think the remake of Carrie probably rides that line perfectly. It adds some interesting new elements, but it doesn't completely copy the original. And a big reason for that is Kimberly Pierce, the director. You might remember her from a movie called Boys Don't Cry, which is one of the most powerful movies of the 90s. Hilary Swank actually won an Oscar for the role. It was based on a true story of Brandon Teena. Very powerful movie. I think she's one of those directors that just has a woman's sensibility. She knows how to nail down all those characteristics of strong women, or even, you know, women that are suffering from the complications of everyday life, especially teenage women. They couldn't have picked a better director to really nail this down. Also, I love the cast in this movie. First off, Chloe Grace Moretz. I've heard people say that Chloe Grace Moretz is a little bit too pretty for the part, but I honestly think that she has a unique look to her. You can play her as kind of a geeky type of character, but she could also play, you know, a really pretty character, and she does both of those in this movie. When she goes to the prom, then she's all dressed up and you buy into it. But you also buy her as, you know, this introverted waif of a character. And also, I think our hero is only as good as the villains, and I think Portia Doubleday, I've been watching the show Mr. Robot, and she's one of the main characters on that show, and she's really a talented actress. She's got that unique quality to her, and she brought it to this movie, I thought. By the time she gets her, inevitable end at the end of this movie, you're not that mad about it. And that scene at the end, when Carrie, she's had enough.
Run. Now. Kill her. Kill her, Billy. Kill her, Billy. Kill her.
Shut up, I got this.
She meets her and her douchebag boyfriend in the middle of the road, and when her head slams into that windshield, it's pretty intense. Also, I like the characters of Sue and Tommy, the boyfriend-girlfriend. They're not like your stereotypical bullies. They were actually nice to Carrie. Sue befriended Carrie and actually asked her boyfriend to take Carrie to the dance. And I think it was smart that they did that, because in the end, when they're at the prom and Carrie and Tommy are getting the award, and then the bucket falls and kills Tommy, by them making him such a likable character, it was kind of a shock, and you really cared for him. And finally, I got to talk about that last scene, the Carrie out. I don't think it tops the original, just because of Brian De Palma's direction, the score, everything came together in that version and made it just perfect. So it's hard to top that, but still, I think this one actually is pretty damn decent. I love the score in that scene. It's definitely modernized, but I'm glad they didn't try to copy the original. It's its own thing, but it still got the job done. At the end, Carrie really shows off her powers, and you realize that she is a force to be reckoned with. Now, as far as any cons, I wasn't the biggest fan of the whole pregnancy element of the story. I didn't think that was really needed, but it didn't really get on my nerves either. This is a great remake. I think it's one of the better ones. And so I'm definitely going to give this a high purchase worthy. So anyway, guys, that is my review for the Carrie remake. What are your thoughts on this one? I'm looking forward to actually jumping into Brian De Palma's original. And thank you to my subscribers that push for me to do these types of reviews. I love doing requested reviews, especially when I'm into the movie that I'm reviewing. Also, come over to Kill Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. On Fridays, we do Free For All Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, and now Stardust. If you like what I'm doing, hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out. Bye.